Hi YouTube, my name is Scott Kosto, and if you're subscribed to my channel, you may remember a few weeks ago I uploaded this video. It is a cover of the song Knock Me Out by Japanese musician Miyavi. Miyavi's been adding what I like to consider sort of his signature guitar tone to a lot of recent recordings, which sounds like and when I went to do this cover, I knew I'd need to do my best to emulate that sound. I think it's a really unique way of processing guitar that could be utilized in a lot of different genres as sort of this guitar synth hybrid, so I wanted to make a video breaking down my process of how I went about getting that tone. Also, make sure to stick around till the end for a song that I wrote using this sound. So I'm working out of Guitar Rig, but I'm not utilizing anything that is unique to this particular amp simulator, and I'm sure whatever amp sim you use will have similar effects capable of replicating what I'm doing. However, before we get into that, a big component of what makes this tone sound the way it does is heading over to your initial recorded track and pitch shifting it up an octave. Most DAWs have different algorithms available for how to process the pitch shift, and in FL Studio I have mine set to E3 generic, but you can find a similar sounding algorithm in yours. Now over to Guitar Rig, the first thing technically active is this gate, which is currently set at -80 because I just cut out any noise I didn't want getting caught up in the track. But you may want to tweak this so that you're not hearing a bunch of clunking around if you move your hands along a string or something. All a gate does is take anything below a certain volume and mute it, which can be crucial with an effect like this that is going to be so compressed and distorted. After that gating is out of the way, I have a noise reduction, which is going to take any static or hiss out of what I'm feeding it, and may not even be necessary depending on how bad the noise floor is coming from your interface. Then I have this stop compressor just slightly shaping the sound, and in this case taking a pretty quiet signal and getting it at a decent volume to work with. Only have that volume knob set to +1.1, but it's mostly the sustain knob doing the work. After that, I have this trashy distortion pedal called Screamer that just about every amp simulator has its own version of. They're usually really simple and have a volume, tone, and drive knob. As with a lot of other effects chains, you can see I have the tone maxed out and the drive all the way down, which is going to give you a lot more usable of a distortion than the drive knob, which really makes things a bit staticky in the higher frequencies and sort of covers up the actual notes being played. Next up is a big one for this tone, which is the fuzz effect. Instead of getting that gross staticky drive out of the Screamer effect, I'm getting this smoother fuzz sound. I have the fuzz knob set to 1.7 out of 10 because I don't want to overdo it and completely compromise the sound of the guitar, but I do want to give it this really digital distortion type of sound. I have the volume on this guy cranked at 10 as well, which as you can see, these are adding up a bit and starting to clip at the output of Guitar Rig, but having a limiter after this whole effects chain is going to tell it to take anything that would be clipping and completely flatten out its transients. The last thing happening here in Guitar Rig is this pitch pedal, which I have set to -12 semitones. All this is doing is taking your initial sound and pitch shifting it down again 1 octave. The guitar is still playing all the same notes, but now has that low end support back and this semi-synthetic timbre to what we're hearing. I have this dry wet knob set at 23%, which means we're hearing 23% the lower octave and 77% the higher octave. We are done with the amp simulation side of things, but now we need to add some additional effects to shape this sound into something that sits in the mix a little better. I'm going to let you listen to it in the mix the way it is now, and you'll notice you're hearing a lot of noise and it's competing a bit for the low mids with some other instrumentation. So first things first, I have this stock parametric EQ and I'm going to scoop out anything below 220 Hz, since that's basically just me thumping my fingers around and not actually any of the notes being played. Then I have this low mid boost around 440 Hz, giving it some energy in its lower range, since remember most of this tone is coming from the track pitch shifted up an octave, and this is actually at the low end of that track. I scooped around 1K so it isn't peaking out so much and leaves room for the vocals, and then have this higher end boost around 5K to get the most out of the harmonics being distorted in Guitar Rig, as well as a slight high shelf boost. Going into this Red 3 compressor, I have my release set to auto, a 3:1 ratio, and about 5 decibels of gain reduction. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I plan on doing a video breaking down what each function of a compressor is doing to your sound, but all you need to know for now is that 3:1 ratio, your attack and release set like these, and your threshold lowered until your gain reduction is hitting that -5 generally. This makeup gain compensation is boosted roughly 5 decibels to compensate for that compression, but now things are sounding a bit more glued together like a synthesizer. I have a really simple distortion after that, which in FL Studio is called Fruity Fast Distortion, and I'm almost positive most DAWs have their own version of. You can basically see everything I have going on here, but if you need some guidance as to how to get from point A to point B on this effect, you essentially want to play around with these until this high mid area is getting a bit more aggressive without completely compromising the tone with static or losing the dynamics that are still barely intact. The last 2 things I have active are really just to smooth out these really intense overtones since our signal has been distorted so many times, but I think I'm just going to leave them on screen so that you can see what I did here. Really, you're going to need to adjust this around your mix because I think that's essentially what I was doing here, was blending it into the way I have everything set up with the other instrumentation. I think at this point I was fine-tuning since I don't usually love having so many stacked EQs on one instrument, but with this being a unique effect, it sort of required the additional tweaks. From there, you'll just be adding spatial effects that help the guitar sit in your mix more naturally, like reverb and delay. I'm super in love with this tone and could see it being used in a lot of different scenarios, so I'd love to see what people do with it. I'm going to leave you with something I threw together after playing around with it for a bit, but not before I ask that you subscribe to my channel for more music related content, like this video to let me know you enjoyed it, and comment below with any questions or feedback. Thanks for watching.
of life as I